Hello divas, dudes, and dolls, I'm Caricature, and welcome back to my luscious, luxe, and layered little review show, Very Slay, where we go over each and every one of the main stage runway looks on RuPaul's Drag Race Global All-Stars. And just like All-Stars 9 and any other season that comes out on Paramount Plus over here in the States, we got 2 episodes on premiere night, which means I have 2 runways to go over. And even though the cast was split in half to compete in these first 2 episodes with no eliminations, all 12 queens still did both runways. So we have 24 looks to go over today. God help me. And this is another one where the next week it's the ball. I've had a long week. If you watch my Drag Race Philippines review, you should know this. I had a lot of things going on that I had to work around last week. But if you want to see what I was up to this weekend, be sure to go check my other social media because you can see on my latest TikTok and my latest reel, it's the same thing. It's also on my Twitter. You can see a little snippet of one of my performances from my hometown's first ever Pride. And I was Rogue from X-Men, and it was so cute. I'll put a little picture on here of me in that look. Y'all, I looked so correct. It was so good. So good. And I have more X-Men stuff coming in the next couple of weeks, and you can see my boyfriend in the same video watching me perform for the first time. It's very sweet. I'll post a little picture over on this side so you can see his face. A really blurry picture because it's really cropped in on the video, but I just love seeing that that's how he looks at me when I perform. It just makes me so happy. I love him so much. But enough with the sappy things. We've got a review to get into, and we have 2 runway themes to discuss today. We have a Garden of Eden theme from episode 1 and a money makes the world go round kind of world currency theme that I was kind of confused because I didn't really feel like everybody truly did that theme at the level I was kind of thinking they were going to do it, but it's up to interpretation. Whatever, let's get into it. Now, as always, when we get into these looks, if I think that the look met the brief, got the job done, but didn't blow me away, we give it an okay. If I absolutely love it and think it was delicious, we give it a slay. Or if there's any reason at all that I don't like it, I'll give it an A. And it's all in efforts to find my weekly slay of the day, of which we will have 2 today that will go head to head against my favorite look from the promo episode and entrance look, which is Eva La Queen's entrance with all of those pearls. And whichever look out of those 3 comes out on top will be our slay of the season going into episode 3. Whichever look holds that title after we've crowned a winner, I'm gonna make a full illustration of eventually. I'm working on my slay of the season piece of Marina Summers from UK vs. the World Season 2. It's looking real good. I will have a sketch coming to Patreon very shortly once that's totally finalized. If you haven't joined the Patreon already, consider doing that so you can see all of that as it develops, and you can also get a little inside look into some upcoming series that I am working on in the background. And as always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of those lovely little things, and get us one step closer towards YouTube partner. We are in the home stretch, y'all. We are getting there. But I can't get to where I really need to be without the watch hours, and I can't get where I need to be without another 300 or so subscribers. So we are getting there. We're not quite there yet, so we're getting there. Every little step counts. It's a free way to support the channel. Tell me in the comments below what your favorite looks out of these episodes were, because I want to know. If you want to discuss the episodes in full, if you want to discuss the episode proper in full, you can head on over to my Patreon and join for free to access that post about the episode itself and all of the other seasons that are currently airing that I'm not covering on the channel. You can head over to my Patreon as well. You can jump in and join that conversation for free. And if you decide to support, that's always an option. But with that all out of the way, finally, let's dive into these 24 runway looks. Now, the way we're gonna go over these in order is going to be in the order of their talent show performances. Episode 1 girls first, episode 2 girls second, and I'm gonna do both of the runway looks at the same time, queen per queen, just so it's a little easier on me to edit. First up, we have Queen Kong. Her Garden of Eden look, the hair is really the true shining star of this piece. There's so much intricacy of this. I feel the same way about this hair that I did about Zimba Ding's promo hair from Drag Race Philippines Season 3. I love it. I think it's so architectural. It really has that tree motif that she's going for with this particular look. I think it works really well. I also really appreciate the fact that she went more for the tree and not the green and the apple and the serpent that everybody else did. I'm not the biggest fan of the corset itself. I think the corset takes away from the look a lot, and I wish that there had been a little bit more flare in the skirt, but I love the nails. I love the kind of the veiny nature of the textile itself, the embellishment work that's on this. I love the accessories. I love the jewelry. I think this is very quintessential to her drag. It's very representation at the forefront. I'm gonna give this a slay. Now, when we get into her money look, girl, what was the point of the pink? I didn't understand the pink. I'm not Australian or from New Zealand, so I don't understand how this is supposed to be her local currency, besides it being gold and gold being associated with money. There's a few girls who did this. The corset leotard thing that she has on over this gold bodysuit does the look no favors. I think the fabric itself as well. She says on the runway that the fabric may be cheap, but she looks expensive. She doesn't. I don't like this at all. The only thing I like about this is like the neck up. The hair's great, the face is great. The structure of the collar is really cool as well. It kind of has this like evil stepmother vibe to it. But other than that, it's a bodysuit with like a cape poncho thing. And then a thigh-high boot. I don't like this one. I'm gonna give this an A. Especially after the first episode, I expected a lot more. So I'm hoping that this is like the one look that she didn't really have a clear concept for, that she just kind of threw something together and just put it out there and said, well, it's gold. Moving on. Up next, we have Miranda Lebrau. Now, at first, I wasn't the biggest fan of this because I thought it was a lot of different working parts. I love the blue fabric. I love the color of that on her. It's really, really pretty. I love the structure of this gown. I think it's an interesting silhouette. The real thing I love about this, though, is the snake that wraps around the body. I think the way that's done is so cool because I didn't notice this until I went back and looked at it more up close, but I love that the snake is like up the arm as a glove. I think the illusion of that as a glove works so well. So well. As an idea, it's really cool. And I also see her own drag aesthetic a lot through this. So I think this is another really successful look. I love her makeup. I'm always gonna love Miranda's makeup. She's one of my favorite faces in drag, period. I think this is a solid look. I think there's maybe one or two things going on that aren't my favorite, and I wish maybe the bodice itself had a little more stonework involved because from certain angles it just looks really, really plain. But in general, I find it successful. I'm gonna give it a slay. Her money makes the world go round look, I absolutely love. This is another situation where I wish there was a little bit more flare in the skirt just because I think it's a little more dramatic, but I don't mind it. The gold headpiece here with all four of the animals that are on Brazilian currency. I love the little floral detailing that's along the dress itself too. It really takes your eye through the look in a really nice and flattering way for her. And I always love a black lip. I'm always gonna love a black lip. And I think this makeup is one of my favorite faces I've ever seen her do. This is one of my favorite looks I think I've ever seen from Miranda, period. In general, between this and her original season. I'm gonna give it a slay. Up next is Kitty Scott Claus. I think this color is very pretty on her. I think the makeup is stunning. The hair is great. But she's given pumpkin. She's not really giving Garden of Eden. I know she was saying she was doing like this English rose kind of thing. That's not what this gives me. This gives me, it's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. I think a lot of it is the green tights. The green tights are heinous, and I do not like them. I don't mind the green sleeves. I don't mind the color of the garment itself, but this doesn't give me Garden of Eden at all in any capacity. It just gives me garden and maybe a girl named Eden, but this just isn't really doing much for me. But I don't think it's horrible, so I'm gonna give it an okay. When we get into her money makes the world go round look, I have literally nothing nice to say about this. I think across both episodes, I didn't like Queen Kong's money look, but I at least liked this up. Like in terms of the picture, the silhouette with the collar shape and the hairstyle. I don't like this hair. I'm very open about how I don't like this particular style of wig where it's like all this weird sculptural stuff on the top and then it's just straight. It's just not doing anything for me. It never has. It probably never will unless it's a very particular style sculpt. I don't think it goes with this look all that well. The money element, the way it's brought in, I don't like. I think this looks really cheap. To me, there's nothing that's really flattering about this at all. Like, I don't like the color on her. I don't like the cut of the dress on her. I don't like the implementation of the coins throughout the look. There's not enough of it to take it all the way there for me. So for me, this one is a nay. Next up, we have Athena Leakes, who her Garden of Eden look I thought was a really, really interesting direction to take it. I loved the apple ball gag and this sort of statement on how religion binds and suppresses women. I thought that was very poignant, and I think it's very on brand for her style of drag, where it's political, it's a little edgy, and I think this direction for this whole look in general, I think even if you got rid of the ropes and still had this hair, this makeup direction, and these pants, the pants are really cool, but just the general shape of this is like Italian Vogue. Like, I could see this in Italian Vogue. It's very high fashion, it's very editorial, which I'm a fan of. Hopefully she gets to do a really cool photo shoot of this look, but I like this one a lot. I'm gonna give it a slay. Maybe it's the religious trauma jumping out, I don't know. Now when we get into her Money Makes the World Go Round look, I don't really see the money theme with hers a lot here. This is now, I think, the second or third Belgique queen that I've seen with these wigs that are just like full of barrettes. I like the way it's implemented to kind of make a crown or like a little cap situation along the hairline. I think it looks good on the runway from the front. From the side, it looks like a swimming cap with like hair tacked on like here down. So from the side, it's not as flattering. I like the chainmail chain dress. I think that's a cool idea. I love the sleeves. I like the netting element of the skirt. The lattice nature of this is really neat. It moves really well too. But I found this look kind of ho-hum in general. I just wish there was a little bit more to it to talk about because I found it really plain. I'm gonna give it an okay. Next we have Soa the Muse. Now, her first look, this Garden of Eden moment, I really appreciate that she went more with the Lilith storyline for this look. It's really dark. I think it works for her. I like the top half of this. I love the corset piece. I love the shoulder pieces. I love the head pieces. I love the beadwork with all of that. I wasn't crazy about the snakes on the legs, and I think she's got like a little snake like on the butt too. I don't think this is awful, but I also think that there could have been so much more silhouette-wise with this. Especially with this like draped fabric situation that she's got on the skirt. I think she could have brought that in a little bit more just to have a little more movement to things. I don't know, I just feel kind of torn on it because I like parts of it, but there's also enough that I would change or edit or improve that take this down for me. So I think I'm just gonna give it an okay and move on. For her currency look, I think this concept of doing pre-colonization money with shells, especially with her being from like Martinique, is genius. I actually really like the implementation of this, and this is another look like Athena's from episode 1. I could see this being in an Italian Vogue, a really high-end, high-fashion editorial magazine. I think this fits in perfectly with that. It kind of reminds me of, there's this campaign for Dior, I believe, with Charlize Theron, where she's like coming up out of the waves. This look in that setting would be gorgeous, and fingers crossed that I manifest that photo shoot coming into existence. I'm gonna give it a slide. And finally, for this first batch of queens, we have Alyssa Edwards. Her Garden of Eden look, this is pageant, hands down to a T. And this is a wig where I don't mind the sculptural stuff because this feels fitting with the rest of the aesthetic, and the hair behind it is still draggy hair. I actually really like this a lot. I think the coloring and the treatment of the sculptural parts in the hair, it really does give like the snake vibes that a lot of queens went literal with this challenge. I really love the silhouette of this gown as well. The upper shoulder treatment is really, really pretty, all the ruffles. My favorite part of this though is like the sheer bit that comes off the arm on the sleeve. And she carries this with such a great presence. I'm a fan. I'm excited to see how she's gonna do this season. And I'm excited to see the rest of her runways, because that clock one we see in the trailer, I see you, Miss Alyssa. I see you out there. I'm counting the days until we get to see that look in an episode. I'm giving this one a slay. Her currency look, I get that she's supposed to be doing gold and she's going for like a gold card. I don't know, I guess I was expecting to see like green, you know, like actual US dollars as the kind of the basis of the look. But I think doing a gold credit card is kind of funny. I love this hair. I love the high pony. I love how like bottle blonde, I Dream of Jeannie, like the silhouette of this, but still, again, elevated into that drag space. I actually really like how large the shoulders are as well, and that in contrast with the hips. Jade Julie would still be disappointed because the shoulders don't match the hips, but they don't need to here because they match the hem. So it's not the greatest execution of the theme. I think it is still an objectively great gown in terms of design and structure. I'm gonna give this a slate as well. Okie dokie, next up we have the episode 2 girls, starting with Pythia. I really enjoy her take on this, and I love that she went with the rotten apple idea, the original sin, and went grotesque with this. I love the way the snake is incorporated into this as well. It kind of gives me like a bit of a mohawk situation that wraps around the body. I think this is very, very fun and really well detailed. I actually really like the stonework in the face and the makeup as well, just to really add to that like gross, pussy, bubbly skin texture there around the mouth. It works really well for me. I'm giving it a slay. For her Money Makes the World Go Round look, she's giving Lady Britannia. I like the elements of this. I love that she's got like the little maple leaf at the crest of the helm. I think that's a nice, cute little touch. I like the way it's detailed as well. Like using the actual coins throughout the look is really smart. And it is really pretty the way it moves. The big thing with this, I wish that the trident was bigger and more prominent. I wish the shield was a little bigger as well. I know Lady Britannia's shield is not huge. I wish there were some elements of this that were just a little bigger. I think this whole silhouette and the whole scale of everything is so like straight up and down. It's a gorgeous look, don't get me wrong, but I think compared to some of her other things, the silhouette is so downplayed because it's so much of a focus on the texture and the movement of the coins. I guess it's not as visually impressive on first impression as some of her other looks have been so far. But I still really like it a lot and I think it's successful, so I'm also gonna give this a slay. Next up, we have Nelenia. Now, this first look, this Pope moment, I think had she not had the wings, it would have been perfect. The wings are fine, but I think they look a little cheap. And I get why, because they get ripped off. But this Pope situation is gorgeous. It's so elegant. I love the headpiece. I love the detailing throughout this, especially through the bodice. And I love a drapey sleeve. I'm always gonna love a drapey sleeve. But then the outfit she has on underneath, this like fallen angel with the ripped off wings and this kind of snaky vibe. The hair is also not my favorite. It's a little too Lady Tremaine for me. The whole thing, it still works, but I don't really see the point A to point B in terms of storytelling. They look like two completely separate characters and two completely separate looks that don't go together. So for that reason, I think I'm gonna give the whole presentation an okay. For look in episode 2, I love everything about the garment. Especially the first part. I love the sleeves. I just love the whole texture of all of that, and I love the blue. Even the second look, I love the skirt. The skirt especially, the train on that is phenomenal. It's gorgeous to watch it move. I hate the hair. I hate this hair so much. I think it is my least favorite wig that we see across either episode. It's like the perfect encapsulation of everything that I hate with these like sculptural in the front, long and slightly styled or not styled at all in the back wigs. It just does not work. It does not work, especially with her head shape and her face shape. It is not flattering at all. So the hair alone makes me want to give this less than what I'm going to. But the garment itself is great, so I'm also gonna give this an okay. but this hair is heinous. No offense to the person who did the hair. I'm sure you're lovely. Then we have Tessa Testicle with her Garden of Eden look, this bondage moment. I actually like her ball gag with the apple a bit more than Athena's, but I think thematically, Athena's works more. This bondage moment, I wasn't a fan of. And if you go back and watch the runway, which you all can do for free because the whole episode is on the WoW Presents YouTube channel, snake garter belts that she has, that's fun. I love that idea. However, one of them falls off like while she's walking and like slides down her leg, and then it's like around her ankle. And that's a no-no for me. I also don't really care for the body harness situation. It doesn't do it for me. So I am gonna give this look a nay, unfortunately. It just doesn't wet my whistle. Now, when we get into her currency look, there's some stuff with the hair where it's like falling out in the back that I noticed, but I actually really like this hair in general. I love the headpiece that goes around it. I really, though, more than anything, love this corset piece. It's so cool. It's so well done. And the scepter. I love the scepter because the tip of the scepter is a thing of lipstick, and I just think that's camp. It's very kooky, very, very girly. I love it. I wish the dress was longer though, because why do we have a panty out? Why do we have a panty out when you could have just made this dress like 3 inches longer and that problem would not have happened at all? But going back to the lipstick on the scepter, I do really appreciate that it's the same color lipstick as the lip that she's wearing for the makeup. I think this is fun. I think this is successful. I'm gonna give this one a slay. Then we have Eva La Queen, and this is another one who I think really knocked it out of the park. I love that she used organic materials in this look, but I love this makeup. I love this hair. I love the shape and silhouette of this gown. It's so cool. And the little sparkly moss bits all throughout, like this is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And there's some really fun line work and some swirly elements, especially like through the bodice into the hips. This is incredibly successful, incredibly successful. Really the one critique I have is that I'm not the biggest fan of the green and the look being more of a blue green, but the green and the makeup and the hair being a yellow green. I think it pulls enough away from the other green in the look that it's a little jarring on the eye, but I'm not also that mad at it. I'm gonna give this a slay. Her currency look, I love this hair, I love this headpiece, I love the concept of her being the little bamboo bank. I think that's very, very cute, very fun, and very much a great testament to this theme. And the reveal, when this outfit comes down, is great. Like that initial reveal of all the paillettes moving is really cool. But when you look at the paillettes up close, I'm not a fan of that particular fabric choice. The dress itself, I really don't like that much. But I think the execution of everything else is so, so good and so stunning. Her makeup's great. The way this moves really sells it for me because in a way that just the dress on its own does not. This is a tough one. But I think for the reveal factor alone and the fact that she killed a Mega Charizard X on the runway, and I am a Charizard hater. I loved seeing it get its comeuppance in some degree. I'm gonna give her a slay just for that, in all honesty. But the reveal, the hair and makeup, the headpiece, the bamboo bank, the concept, that's also a slay. Now next up we have Galavaro. Now, her Garden of Eden look. I think we all know what my slate of the day for this episode is going to be. This is like leaps and bounds above everyone else on this theme for me. This is so good, so good. The makeup is like seamless in how this transitions into the bodysuit, how it transitions into the corset piece. There's a lot of working parts throughout this look, but the way it's all executed, when you see like the full shot of this look, you don't notice that. It's perfectly executed in every way. I love this like gorgeous female face with the male torso corset combo, the snake that's wrapped around the body, the plants implemented into the look, the moss. This is so well done. But there's nothing wrong with this. In any sense of the word, slay. Absolutely, 1,000 times over. When we get into her currency look, I would honestly say the same thing. I would say the same thing here. There's nothing wrong with this at all. The gold trim, the gold jewelry with the gold boots, genius. Genius level, like, parallels here. It is just enough to break up the color of the outfit itself. The way this moves, incredible. Incredible on the runway. I love this train, the way that it twirls. It's mesmerizing to watch. Like, she's gonna be a fun one on these runways, I can already tell. And the fact that she got the call for this season as her original season had just started airing is wild to me. She's had so much of a glow up in the fashion department alone from her season of Drag Race Mexico to here. Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. I love everything about this. I love the peplum bit of the coat. I love the little head wrap. I love this makeup. I love the print. Slay. And then bless her little heart, here we have Vanity Vane. Her Garden of Eden look, Michelle Foley just calls it Fashion Nova. That's what this looks like. This looks like fast fashion. I really appreciate the direction of taking it into like a streetwear athleisure moment with this tracksuit, but I hate it. This is my least favorite look of the Garden of Eden theme, aside from Tessa's. I really particularly, though, don't like this look. And then she takes the skin off, and then she's like a shed skin, but she just looks like she's, I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't like either of these looks. It's not doing it. There's a lot of execution issues with the prosthetics as well. For me, this is an A. Now, when we get into her Money Makes the World Go Round look, the 3 crowns element, I love how she implemented that, having the crown on the scepter, the crown on the pillow, the crown on her head. That works for me. I love the color palette. I love how regal and elegant this was. I hate the gold fabric choice for the metal pieces on the legs and on the arms. And I don't like the hair that's in her face. I think had she just gotten rid of that little sculptural bit that's hanging in front of her face, this would have been great, and I would have loved it. She could have had more fullness in the shoulder area. I think this fabric is a little on the thin, flat side. I wish it would have just been fluffy, like really, really fluffy. I wish that the cape had this like huge kind of Louis XIV style trim. I know he wasn't Swedish, but I don't care. I wish there was more volume. And for me, this is just okay. So now it is time to pick my slay of the day, my favorite look from each episode. For episode 1's Garden of Eden theme, I'm hands down, giving it to Galavaro. I would say Eva and Alyssa are high up there as well, but Gala far and away took it and just ran for the hills. And then for episode 2, I actually think I'm going to give my slay of the day to Miranda Lebrau. I loved this gold animal moment. I think this was so cool. And it really was a standout for me, even though it is a simpler silhouette and it is a simpler look in terms of detailing in a lot of ways compared to other queens. I just enjoyed it a lot. Now, when we put those two up against Eva La Queen's entrance look that was reviewed as part of the promo Very Slay episode, I think easily, hands down, the queen that is going to be holding on to that top spot going into next week is going to be Galavaro's Garden of Eden look. This is going to be a tough one to beat. I'm going to need to see something incredible to unseat this one. So we might be seeing this one ride all the way out to the end, and that would be wild if the best look of the season came out of episode 1, wouldn't it? But that's all the time we have for today. I will see you all probably on Thursday for my next review of Drag Race Philippines. So just so you are all up to speed, there is a community post over about all of this, but episodes 3 and 4 of Global All-Stars and episodes 4 of Drag Race Philippines Season 3 for Very Slay will all be coming to you not from my house. So the editing is going to be a little weird, the sound is probably going to be not the greatest, but until then, be sure to go out there, y'all, stay kind, stay queer, and make sure that your day is very slay.